everyone. Good morning. Have we all had a chance to find our seats yet? So, thank you all for joining us today. I know it's crazy to be out of office on a Friday morning, at the beginning of Q4, so we're very honored that you've chosen to spend your time with us here. We have an out-of-this-world agenda planned for you all, conversations on AI-powered commerce, overcoming the challenge of platform saturation, collaborating with agentic AI, and we're bringing you our first ever campaign debate. So I hope we're all bright-eyed and we have our brains caffeinated. And without further ado, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Nadeem Qureshi, Campaign Middle East Publishing Director, to get the show on the road.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Campaign's Breakfast Briefing event on The Future Is Now. It's nice to come back after a nice summer break to a full-packed house. Before we get on with today's event, I want to brief everyone quickly on our plans for the second half of the year. Our next couple of editions this year will focus on key topics like e-commerce, digital transformation, production houses, the MENA Power List, out of home, sports marketing, strategy, CX and culture, and digital essays, with the final roundup of the year in the issue in December. One of our major additions this year will be on the marketing game changers. For the first time, Campaign Middle East is introducing the Marketing Game Changer Awards, a dedicated platform to celebrate the client-side marketers shaping the future of our industry. Although Campaign has previously recognized standout marketers editorially, 2025 marks the launch of an official awards program with entries judged by an independent jury of respected leaders across the media and agency landscape. These awards are free to enter and open only to brand-side marketers across the MENA region. So if you're a marketer, this is your chance to prove your contribution in driving measurable impact across brand building, creativity, technology, social responsibility, industry contribution, and leadership. The entries will close on 29 September, so please get your entries in now, and more details are available on our website. Moving on to our events, I'd like to start off with the biggest creative marketing festival in Saudi Arabia, the Athar Festival, which is in full swing. Here's a look at the latest from Athar.
Wondering where all the creatives are? Everyone is at Athar Festival. Don't miss out. Book your pass now.
The Athar Festival is in full swing and is expected to gather over 3,000 attendees across 2 days, feature more than 150 speakers, 80+ activations, and 5 dynamic content stages. Yes, there will be 5 stages at the Athar Festival. Here's everything that's new at the festival across the massive 6,000 square feet of area. The speaker lineup revealed includes one of the most influential voices in creativity and innovation, such as Mo Gaudat, the best-selling author and former CBO at Google, Joe Malone, founder and creative director at Joe Loves, Ellie Norman, CMO at Formula E, Ali, co-founder and film director at Good People Films. Keep an eye on the application deadlines for key initiatives like the Young Talent Academies, the Mahira program, with applications closing this month. The festival will take place on 21st and 22nd of October at the Jax District, and the award ceremony at the Four Seasons in Riyadh on the 22nd of November. For more details, to buy your tickets, your passes, your award seats, please visit atharfestival.com. So now on to our next campaign event, which is the Campaign Saudi Briefing. This is going to be held next month at the Sheraton Riyadh Hotel on the 16th of October. This event will cover key topics in media marketing in Saudi this year. We are still in the process of finalizing the panels and the partners for this event, so if you want to contribute, please reach out to the team. We are planning to host our 4th edition of the Campaign Middle East Agency of the Year Awards on 11th of December at the So Uptown, Dubai. As you're aware, our Agency of the Year Awards focuses not on the work, not on the creativity, not on effectiveness, but on the agency business success. That is the year-on-year growth, your financial achievements, agency culture, diversity, and the people and teams driving this forward. So if you think your agency is a financially successful, robust model with the right team, you stand to win our awards, but only if you enter. Here's a short video on the success we had last year. We have 6 new categories this year, and we just brought back Best Agency in Lebanon based on popular demand. The entries are open till end of next week, that is 18th of September. For more information, please visit the website aoyawardsme.com or reach out to any of my team members here. Coming back to today's event, we'd like to thank all the partners for supporting us on our event. Our gold sponsors are Criteo, Project Agora, and SeedTag. You will hear more about Criteo and SeedTag as the day progresses, but here's a short video about SeedTag. We have all the latest news on campaigns, websites, social media platforms, and weekly newsletters. And please scan the QR code on the agenda paper in front of you to send us the feedback on the content that you see today so that we can build on this. That's it from me. Thank you everyone for attending, and I look forward to seeing most of you at our event in Saudi next month. I will hand over the stage now to Anup Oman, who will take today's event forward.
Welcome to Campaign Middle East, the region's leading title in marketing, advertising, media, and the creative industries. Backed by Motivate Media Group and in partnership with Haymarket UK, we've spent 16 years in the region setting the tone, breaking stories, and shaping conversations for the industry by the industry. From print to digital, podcast to social, we cover it all. More than 430 magazine issues, 100,000 web visitors, 105,000 social followers, and counting. We bring the industry together. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Qatar, Oman, and the Middle East. Our events and podcasts keep you connected to the latest and greatest the industry has to offer. Campaign breakfast briefings, Campaign Market Minds Roundtable, On the Record.
Hello and thank you for joining us on the latest episode of On the Record with Campaign Middle East.
Insightful panels, groundbreaking conversations, you stay ahead of the curve with Campaign. We keep you in the loop with newsletters sent directly to your inbox twice a week. We map the movers, the shakers, the game changers. We cover every corner of the industry. We wrap up the year awarding the best agencies of the region with the highly anticipated Campaign Agency of the Year Middle East Award. The industry is evolving, so are we. Stay connected, stay ahead, stay tuned to Campaign Middle East.
Wow. Thank you, Nadeem. A very good morning to all of you, our Campaign Middle East family. On behalf of this incredible publication and a truly talented team that's hiding in the corners, it's my honor and privilege to welcome each and every one of you to this campaign breakfast briefing, The Future is Now. Before we start, is everyone okay with us doing a little exercise? Yeah, I'm not going to make you stand up or laugh or jump or anything of the sort. I want all of us to take a second to think of the last time you truly enjoyed, I mean truly had a blast with a shopping experience. Take a second. Now, if if you found that moment in life where you had a truly amazing time shopping, raise your hand if it was during the last week. Raise your hand, keep them raised. Raise your hand if it was during the last month. Okay, a few more hands have gone up. Raise your hands if it was during the last year. Okay, a few more hands have gone up. There are still a lot of people who haven't had a good shopping experience. Keep them raised, keep them raised. Now, drop your hands if these shopping experiences have been offline. And by that I mean either in a mall, a retail store, a shop down the street, a supermarket, a hypermarket, a souk, a pop-up store, an event. Now take a good look around the room. Yeah? The question I want to ask today is e-commerce, you can put your hands down now, yeah. Is e-commerce, is online shopping losing that spark, losing the beauty, the joy that we used to have shopping online? Have we lost the spark of online discovery? Sure, many of us like gliding from online marketplace to social media. We like moving from our inbox notifications to our favorite apps. We scroll, we add to cart, we scroll some more, we revisit the cart every now and then, and finally purchase when the time is right, either over the weekend, or when our salary drops in our account, or when the sudden need arises, or if you see somebody else has bought something that you really want, or if you want to feel part of a global or regional trend, labubu. But has that element of spontaneity died? Has that excitement, that surprise spark and discovery gone? Is the experience of shopping online losing its spark? As marketers, we often believe that our discovery strategies are absolutely on point. Our search strategies are absolutely on point. As consumers, we feel brands don't really understand us. Sure, data is helping brands personalize and add a layer of relevance, but consumers are asking for more. They're asking for that perfect find to feel emotionally engaging, exciting, delightful, and a great experience, not just efficient or optimized. They're actually willing, and a recent study says 50% and more are willing right now to share their contact details, website and app behavior, social media interactions, and data from loyalty programs if and only if they trust the brand and are promised an experience that are culturally relevant, candid, humorous, meaningful, and contextual, rather than more of the same. Now we segue. Stay with me because this is where things get exciting. While we discuss ease, automation, and scale in a world where performance budgets continue to flow to all the platform giants such as Meta, Google, Snap, and TikTok, marketers are also raising the question, is there a growing opportunity for the open web to reclaim its share? When I recently had a coffee with a client about this, and I'm not going to take any names at this point, she said, think of Meta, Google, Snap, and TikTok as Sheikh Zayed Road. It's fast, it's well signposted, and reliably busy. We all use it because it gets us from point A to point B, it checks off our KPIs, it gets us where we want to be. But it gets congested. When everyone piles into the same lanes, so to speak, costs rise, attention fragments, and the view doesn't change much. Meanwhile, the open web is a network of scenic routes with mountains and desert passes, and every once in a while a camel or a gazelle runs across your path. You have it takes a little more time to navigate, but you meet different people, have richer conversations, and often get a better deal. She said, and I quote, the question isn't whether you should use Sheikh Zayed Road or whether you should use the scenic route. It's how to design a journey that does both. Once again, the solution isn't to pick a side, it's to give AI a better brief. Treat it like a sat-nav with taste. Type in that destination of business and brand outcomes. Teach it the preferred routes of brand-suitable supply, and explain the scenery of attention-rich context that we value. And then let it plot out the route across both Sheikh Zayed Road and the scenic roads. It's time for intelligence, creativity, and choice, right? Intelligence is not knowing, going beyond, is knowing which impressions are working for our objectives, not just which is the cheapest. Creativity is using environments that lets ideas breathe. Longer form, shoppable content, publisher integrations, so we're remembered, not just seen. Choice is building a portfolio across platforms and the open web, so one algorithm or one policy change on third-party cookies doesn't screw up all our plans. We've also entered an era of hybrid humanity. None of this is worth talking about if the teams that we have and the people we are the same as the teams that we had 10 years ago, and we choose to be the people we were 10 years ago. We're welcoming not just digital natives, but AI natives, co-pilots, and agentic AI into our workflows. And now, we've got a potent storm brewing. In conclusion, before this storm hits, there are still things that we need to fix. What's the call to action in a world where we're constantly playing catch up with the speed of tech advancements, the speed of culture, where all the deadlines supposedly ended day before yesterday, where margins are tight, where competition is extremely high, where agencies and brands are leaking talent, where the number of agencies that are shutting down or getting acquired are the same number of agencies that are sprouting up, where we're spending 56 hours in a row through sleepless nights on a campaign, months on RFPs that we never get paid for, and an occasion to get ghosted just to see our ideas prop up somewhere else and be blatantly stolen, or never realize payments that should have been made months or even years ago, where trends overtake values and we don't genuinely know whom to trust anymore. I'd like to challenge the industry this morning. In a world of speed, let's pause, think, and strategize. In a world of noise, let's listen. In a world where everyone seems to have an answer, let's prompt correctly and learn to ask the right questions. In a world where success is glorified, let's experiment and fail fast. In a world that's chasing vanity metrics, clicks, and ROAS, let's build incrementality. Measure what matters. In a world where everyone's chasing fleeting trends, let's live by timeless values. In a world that's getting comfortable with mediocrity and laziness, let's be accountable to our craft, culture, creativity, and the client's brand and business outcomes, as well as social impact, people, and the planet that we're called to serve. Let's learn how to learn again. This beautiful Friday morning, as we take a break from the daily grind, I dare us to be the people that the world needs, not scrounging for other people's time and attention, but building an industry cemented on trust and empathy. I dare us all to dream again. Dream as big as this beautiful city of Dubai that we live in. And while doing so, remember our first love. Remember what drew us into this career in the first place. This beautiful industry of influence and persuasion. This industry of brand, marketing, creative advertising, media, PR, and comms in the first place. This is going to be an exciting morning. On that note, welcome once again to the campaign breakfast briefing. The future is now. Thank you.
Thank you, Anoop. You've definitely left us with a lot to think about. And to answer some of those questions that you raised, let's dive right in with a fireside chat about rekindling the spark of discovery, AI emotion, and the future of shopping. Before we call our speakers on stage, here's a short video from our session sponsor, Criteo.
Up. That's where online shopping's going. And we're giving it that extra lift. with a platform that brings everyone together. Brands, agencies, retailers and publishers united around a common goal: to put the joy back into shopping. Delighting customers and elevating the experience. With Criteo, every decision, every step taken is for the love of commerce.
And with that, it is my pleasure to welcome to the stage Jonathan Flender, the Vice President of Digital and Omni at GMG, Andre Matarazzo, the Director of Creative, Content, and Communication at Majid Al Futtaim, and our moderator for today is Gosia Watchter, the Managing Director in the Middle East and Africa for Criteo.
Where do I sit? Here? Okay. I'll sit that over. More chairs than us. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Andre and Jonathan, for joining us here. And Anoop, where are you? Here. Thank you for highlighting the findings of our recent report. Well done. So half of my job done. For most of you guys, you know that Criteo is all about shopping. We shop 24/7. And we started beautifully with an introduction to shopping, what we've been facing. And at Criteo, we record more than 1 trillion transactions on an annual basis from all our clients. Hence, we have a gold mine of the data. And we like to analyze those data. So we've been looking at it recently in our recent report called Spark of Discovery. And we've discovered that obviously while it's all about transactions, shopping is about transactions, but it's also about the emotion and about how people feel. So this is the intro to obviously what I want to tackle with both Jonathan and Andre here. So we've discovered that more than half an hour of consumers, they want joy when they shop online. However, 76% say the experience is really flat. So it's time right now, ahead of the very busy period, Q4 for all the retailers and advertisers, obviously with the Black Friday, Singles Day, and festive season, to look at the emotion of e-commerce, the spark of joy, the fun of discovery, and to see how we can rekindle this missing magic, and hence that's the conversation today. I will start with Jonathan. Good morning again.
Good morning.
Does this tension between efficiency and emotion resonate with what you've seen in the MENA region? Over the years, has it changed?
Come again, sorry. Focus on the question. Can you come back?
The tension between efficiency and emotion, does this resonate with what you've been seeing in the MENA region? So basically, in your view, has the industry here leaned too heavily on KPIs and optimization at the expense of creativity and excitement?
Yes, and that's quite common, but more than there's focusing on KPIs, most of the time we don't necessarily focus on the right ones. I think the KPIs which are connected to emotions are often a bit different from the financial one, which are the one that companies focus on. I think the KPIs which are associated to emotions usually, if done properly or enhanced, right, are leading to financial benefits because ultimately it makes the customer happy.
In our report, we've also seen that 52% of the consumers, they feel great when they are browsing new product. They feel amazing, like 46%, they feel great about discovering the new brand. It's quite actually, I don't know, like, I want your take on the region, because it also says that they value more browsing the website, which is discovering the new product, new brand, rather than consuming the influencer content. I mean, this is a kind of controversial statement, I would say, when it comes to the region. So that's my question to you in terms of the KPIs. Where do you more allocate your efforts? Would it be experience of consumer browsing, experiencing your website, or maybe more investing into the content and influencers?
Well, we talk about joy a lot, and I think you talked about happy experience or amazing experience or fantastic shopping experience online and offline, and I think that to start that, we probably should begin focusing on what's sapping or taking away the fun or adding stress or frustration during the shopping experience, irrespective if it's off or online, right? So our focus, as much as we can, it's not always easy, is to remove frustration. So most of people talk all the time about seamless omni-channel customer experience.
Correct.
I think seamless starts by absence of friction, and we should start by focusing on that at the channel level, trying to achieve that on our main channel, maybe at a second channel, which is also offering a frictionless experience, and then start connecting those two channels together. Because it's not because you have two channels which are offering a seamless experience in isolation that it's necessarily easy to offer a seamless experience across two channels. And then you start adding more by just removing frustration and friction.
This leads me to our main topic, AI. So how does AI helps with seamless, and where do we stand with AI today?
So AI is trending. I mean, everyone reads and speaks about it, probably use it at that stage, personally or professionally. I started on my journey with Comets now, which is an AI-powered web browser, which is quite amazing. But AI essentially offers us a couple of different options. From a Gen AI perspective, creativity, which is either content creation, content translation, so content written text, or content graphic design, videos. That's on the Gen AI part. AI helps us to do a lot of price optimization. So we do a lot of experiments around maximizing profit, maximizing sell-through, maximizing top-line sales. So again, it has very positive impact on the business. So essentially, a lot of efficiency, and that efficiency or time gain, right, or automating repetitive actions, allow us to use our time for more meaningful actions, right? So essentially, focusing on the experience in general. By saving time, we have more time to think about how we can enhance the experience.
Very well said. That leads me to my next question. When we said about efficiency, obviously the right message. So now thinking about the data, about your audience, and Anoop mentioned it, that more than 50%, which is really, really strong number of course, we want it to be much higher, of our consumers want brands to use their shared data, so the first-party data, right, to offer personalized ads. So it's all about hyper-personalization these days. So when you look at your first-party data, right, when you understand, and now that's my question, like how advanced are we in understanding our consumers' first-party data, and how do we leverage AI to speak to our customers, to use it for creatives and so on, like in your experience?
I mean, we're at a stage where we could be, or many people are, in a position where they understand their customers very well. I don't think it's necessarily attached to the AI piece. The AI is just an enabler to go a bit faster. It's been many years that people can understand their customer. It's just that with AI, we can probably do it more at scale. Now, how does it help us? Again, for me, the first focus is to offer as less frustration or as much service as possible. The best example of that is I think people are happy when the shopping experience starts by not being a struggle. If you ask people, everyone probably shops on quick commerce apps today. Everyone has their own favorite. Let's say you shop food, you have Deliveroo, Careem, Noon, Talabat, and so on and so forth. And many people have different preferences. Some of them is just on the restaurant selections. The others, they're not able to tell you. They're not able to tell you, you're asking, why is that your favorite? And they tell you, I don't know, I just prefer it. If you just prefer it, it's purely emotional.
Yeah.
And I believe, I'm strongly convinced that it comes from the fact that they were not frustrated during that experience. It was just easy, a breeze. How many times effectively one shop online or even offline, I say, you know what, that was surprisingly easy. That feeling will bring customer back. I recently used a laundry app, and I had a question, and they hired an AI agent. And I was convinced that once again would be a gadget. I asked a very simple question, just spoke to the agent, and the agent gave me a very accurate answer that instantly solved my problem. I was amazed. I was already liking this app, but it was surprisingly efficient. I mean, I'm sold, I'm sticking with them.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
So it's all about the experience at the end, yes. To your point as well, yes, one is convenience, it's frustration, so it's lots of emotions, right? But it's also about the joy of discovering, right? Discovering new brands, discovering new products. And during our research, and I know myself, everyone knows I like to shop, obviously. Sometimes you also wanna find something new, and that's what it's lacking these days, right? So here is now my question to Andre, and officially, guys, welcome Andre to the region, because he's been here for 3 months only, straight from Japan.
Thank you.
With years of experience in a creative field. I want to ask, can you share how AI is reshaping the creative process? Because we, as the consumers, we definitely respond to creatives, to ads, right? This is all about emotions. So I would want to understand, based on your experience, local, and if you want to tap into your international one as well.
I think I love the idea of joy, because I think joy can be sparked in different ways, to your point. Like if you want to buy oranges, perhaps joy is you anticipate my need. It's morning, I love vitamin C, and then it's right on my face, I press the button. That's as joyful as it gets. If I want to buy a piece of jewelry, it's a completely different way of triggering joy, right?
Yes.
Maybe I want to see it on myself. So it's so wide. What I can tell a little bit about AI is we had a recent campaign with Share and ENBD.
Correct.
And all of the assets that we've created for the consideration phase of the campaign were all AI generated. So we were able to be very precise about targeting and exactly what people saw at that specific moment in context. And we were able to build that at scale. So what previously we would build, I don't know, with 100 assets, we could build 1,000. And definitely for about 1/4 of the price. So I think that we're talking about a financial product, and we have to put it in context to what's happening physically at the malls or at home. So that's where AI impacted our process very much on the creative side. And when we had a big TVC, that was also built, 80% of what you saw there was also AI generated, which to us allowed us to go much further creatively, and also for like a fraction of the price. So I think we're also starting to navigate, to use the tools. There are a million tools out there. It completely changes the flow of creativity. We're trying to learn how to integrate all of that and to get people up to speed, and the education component is hard. Our teams, I didn't know what it was a year ago. So we're trying to like run after all of that, but integrating in the meantime.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really interesting. So do you believe AI can actually spark surprise and delight, and based on your overall experience? I mean, that would be, because at the end of the day, the brands are looking to like stand out, right?
Sure.
I mean, and kind of they compete between each other. They want to attract consumers, users. So
yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I keep thinking that the bottom line is money. So I'll give you a bad example, but if you want to sell orange, one thing is to show it against a white background on Amazon. The other thing is have your favorite influencer knock on your door and bring you the orange. It's very costly, right?
Yeah.
But I think what AI is allowing us to do now is to also put the item in an environment that feels very whimsical. So we use, for instance, a tool that's called Higgs Field, and you can just place the object and select exactly what kind of variation you want from background, what the product does. It animates. It does a lot of things that previously would have cost, the unit would cost lots of dollars. Now it's negligible. So I think also the way you put products in front of people, beyond the idea of context and timing and all of that, but the product itself can look much more exciting. You can put your own face on the product. You can put the product inside your home.
Yeah.
So I think AI is helping us do things that before we could do faster and cheaper. And also take us to some new places too. AI is quite uncharted territory.
And during your creative process, I'm very curious about it because we are with Criteo at the end result, and now I'm kind of leading to the hyper-personalized ads, right? So it's all about the engagement. We want to be the most relevant. So I'm quite curious, during your creative brainstorming process, how you guys produce.
Good question.
How do you guys approach the end result, which is the hyper-personalized ads, right? With all the creative approach.
So AI is changing my flow completely. I think that from harvesting data, making sense of the data, finding the big insight, there are tools that do that for you faster. Are they perfect? No. You still have to look at 27 insights and humanly pick these 3 make sense. But still, just harvesting and going through all this data and making sense of it would take weeks. Now it takes hours. Then you go into brainstorming. That's also incredible. I find that brainstorming with the machine, with AI, it's kind of equivalent today to brainstorming with a very good senior creative partner. Obviously, again, in the creative process, you look at 100 things that don't work to find the one that works. However, it's fast and seamless. They don't get tired. They work whenever I want at 2 a.m., so that's also amazing. When it comes to the time to give birth to that idea and say, how can we execute it visually and everything? Again, you have an array of opportunities. This specific campaign for EMBD and Share, we were able to put one person in 20 different situations around the world. And that was done, obviously, through a different flow in AI. But it's uncanny how perfect it is. And obviously, we didn't shoot in 20 different countries, but it was done in a week. So it has been helping me all the way through, and it's making everything faster to the point of I'm kind of scared now that we're expected to solve things before in a week. Now it's a day with AI because it helps so much. But it is helping very much, and we must be connected to the tools because if you're not, you're going to be left behind very quickly.
Thank you very much. That's really interesting, Jonathan. To build on the personalized ads. And obviously, efficiency. How do you guys measure efficiency of the personalized ads? Do you look at the engagement? Obviously, we look at transactions. Everyone knows about it. It's all about the money at the end. But it's also about the customer experience and engagement and so on. So I'm very curious to see at GMG, how do you guys approach this part?
I mean, we're still using fairly traditional ways, so we iterate a lot of different creatives. At the end of the day, the engagement is one thing, but we look at not revenue, but profitability mostly, and this is what is important. I think AI in that instance, specifically when it comes to personalization, can be very powerful, but very dangerous as well. AI at the end of the day is just using data, so the data must be clean. So it is very true that today we use AI to clean the data, but you still need a large amount of time to have a human checking if that data is actually accurate. So a few months ago, I was doing another panel, and the audience was asked, what's your view on AI? Should be fully autonomous or vetted by a human? And the vast majority said vetted by a human, right? Because you need control. You need that control. While we still have it, it's not necessarily going to continue in the future because more and more AI experts and safety and security experts are talking about singularities and the fact that we lose track of how the AI evolves and changes. But while we can still control it, I think it's important. It can be immensely powerful. From a pure creative standpoint, I mean, we came a very long way. I mean, in the last 12 months, we're going 50% faster on creative. That's a lot of time to spend more on the ideation, I think. I have to say. We're spending 90% less time on translation, which just becomes essentially a quality check. That's, again, a lot of time we can re-inject into adding a bit more of a human touch, which definitely helps.
And this is a relief that we still need a human touch there. Final question, conscious of time. If you could, Jonathan, give one piece of advice, it's to both of you, we'll start with Jonathan, of advice to brands in MENA who want to surprise and delight their customers in the age of AI, what would it be?
Solve a problem. Don't add a gadget. Really solve an itching, recurring problem. And that starts by not trying to think about the problem, but experience your own proposition. Too often we have people who are sitting at a desk trying to add features, but they never actually shop. They don't walk into a physical store, or they don't use their own website or their own mobile app, or they use it very sporadically, but they don't go through a full customer journey, right? So when was the last time that, if you have an online business, for example, you've been through an account creation process? What friction, how can you enhance any part of that process, or the checkout process, or when you add your address or anything else, right? And focus on that. If AI can be used for that, fantastic. If you can solve a problem or enhance an experience, even better. I think that's the best advice I could. Pick something simple that you can test, and then you scale it.
So step by step, yes. Andre?
To me, I would say give your creatives time to learn the tools. The tools are profuse. Every week there's like 29 new tools. They're equally important, and creatives are like struggling to deliver every day what needs to be delivered, and also being pressed to learn the tools and deliver faster. But you must embed that into the formula. You must allow them to learn. Give them time, educate. You need to spend money now in education so that it pays off later. My team, for instance, they have a required part of the week in which they must learn the tools, and they have time to do it. So I think it's important to not think that this is going to be an automatic transition, I think.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't think we have time for questions, do we? No. So then offside. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello again, everyone. What an insightful panel. It's really interesting to see how AI and creativity is going to work hand in hand and hopefully make our shopping experience better in the years to come. Now, moving on, we have the first panel for today. 1 second, sorry. So, we have our first panel up for the day, brought to you by Project Agora. The panel is going to be on scaling smart. Can the open web compete in a platform-dominated world? Before we head on into the panel, here's a short video from our panel sponsor, Project Agora. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Maher Kassab, the Associate Director of Digital Marketing at Arada, Umar Nisar Siddiqui, the head of programmatic at Khalij Times, Andrew N.A., the head of performance at Spark Foundry, and our moderator for the panel, Eli Shamas, the regional director at MENA for Project Agora. Eli, over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Great to see so many familiar faces. For the ones I haven't met yet, my name is Eli. Been in the industry for a while. Did some platform, did some ad tech, did some publishers. And today we're going to be having a wonderful session. At the moment, I'm looking after the operation of Project Agora in the Middle East and North Africa. And actually, I'm going to be thrilled by the lovely speakers today. So again, we have Maher from Arada, we have Omar from Khalij Times, and we have Andrew from Spark. So the goal in the next 30 minutes, we're going to go beyond buzzwords. We share best practices, real challenges, and actionable insights that you can take back to your teams. Shall we start? All right. So for the first question, Andrew, let me start with you.
Sure.
We know the bulk of performance budgets still go to platforms like Meta, Google, and TikTok. Is it mainly because of the ease and automation of their self-serve tools? Do you feel this creates an unfair playing field for publishers? And what could be done to simplify buying across the open web?
I was distracted by my mic not working, so can you repeat that question? Sorry.
Okay, great, no worries. So we know the bulk of performance budgets still go to platforms like Meta, like Google, and TikTok. Yeah. Is it mainly because of the ease and automation of their self-serve tools? Or do you feel this creates an unfair playing field for publishers? And what could be done to really simplify the buying across the open web?
Great question. And yeah, that's entirely right. So most of the budget does go to the walled garden platforms like Meta and TikTok, Snapchat, and so on. And it is 100% down to the ease of automation of their platforms and the incredible scale that they have, both in terms of just overall usage, in terms of time spent on their platforms, and also the data that they're able to gather, which enables us to target a lot more precisely. The concept of whether it's unfair, though, is a little bit tricky because we live in a capitalist society, so technically there is no unfair because it's choice at the end of the day. Consumers choose to spend time there, and so we must show up there. But at the same time, as an advertiser and as brands and as agencies, we need to follow the attention beyond where the majority of the attention goes. In fact, even speaking of majority is a little bit convoluted because the majority of our time, between 60 and 70% of our time, is actually spent on the open web. Okay. So we're spending more time on the open web, but as advertisers, we're chasing the kind of quick win, right? Because
Sheikh Zayed Road that we spoke about recently. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So we're taking Sheikh Zayed Road instead of the scenic route. So yeah, it's tricky and it's a balancing act. But hopefully that helps. I don't think it's necessarily unfair. I think it's up to brands to push their agencies. For weaker agencies, I'm a publicist, so for us, we push our brands to diversify budgets away from,
Lovely. Great. So the beauty of the panel today is we're going to have different perspectives. So we have one from an agency side, but let's hear from Omar, from a publisher's perspective. What do you think about that?
Sure.
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah. So one thing that I see, the war gardens, why...
I think we need volume, please, or just technical
Hello.
glitch.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay, great. So firstly, looking at the budgets going towards the walled garden, from my perspective, the use case or the reason that I see it's happening a lot is the simplicity, the use of automation, and it's more like plug and play rules. A marketer can actually look into creating a campaign, launching a campaign, optimizing a campaign, and eventually measuring the campaign within the same field. But when it comes to open web or more like an independent publisher, so these
steps are really fragmented. So someone is doing the planning part, a publisher is helping in creating a proposal independently, and the optimization is done like, purely on operation side, and then the measurement is taken. So this is not so much as ease from a publisher perspective, but what can be done from a publisher perspective is to ease this automation is create a sort of a PG, PMP, PD deals, or the open webs, where the things are more plug and play options, where the agency can take a role, they can create and optimize things in time. Okay. So that's where the model can shift here, and the budgets can also come as plug and play model.
Right, great, thank you.
Yeah.
So we have 5 questions today. So question number 2, and that's like an agency question. So, agencies are under constant pressure to deliver smarter, faster, and more efficient results. We all know that. How are you and your teams using AI today for better content, targeting, and optimization? And where do you see the biggest opportunity?
So a lot of clients do come to us asking, what can we do around AI? And I think it's coming from a place of FOMO, this understanding that everyone is talking about AI, but everyone's using it because of the rise of generative AI. But with advertising, we've obviously been using AI in our day-to-day for, maybe 20 years at this point. From the publicist's perspective, we've built tools that help us with bid optimization when it comes to optimizing across both the walled gardens and the open web. So that's one way that we're kind of leveraging AI. We also have, from a content perspective, tools that enables our brands to automate dynamically the creation of content to more relevant, to more easily relate to their audiences.
Okay.
So I hope that.
Yeah. You guys like that? What about you, Maher? From a brand perspective, it is a trendy thing. Tell us more about it.
Actually, as a real estate brand, what's important of AI for me is to analyze the data, just to optimize it and to show better effectiveness and efficiency to our marketing campaigns.
Okay.
So the way we integrate the CRM data with our platforms and this stuff, it will automatically optimize our results and will give us better results in our campaign performance. And imagine, for example, if someone is looking today to buy a property, his family looking to buy a villa, or an investor looking for a luxury property, we are showing them directly what they are really looking for. Uh-huh. So this is minimizing the cost for us in terms of showing our ads, and it increases the efficiency of our campaign performance as well.
Okay, I love that. Tell us more from
Definitely.
a Khaleej Time perspective.
From Khaleej Time's perspective, it's more like just seeing the other side. So when the agencies or marketer tries to optimize to lower the cost in a way, or reach the optimal KPI values, our job using AI is to maximize the revenues at the same time. So it's equally playing the same role. So that's where we use the AI to ensure we are converting each inventory into a dollar value, and that to our highest value. So it's a yield optimization exercise that we use this AI engine for. The second thing is from a content perspective, because Khaleej Times is the leading news publication. We have a lot of content, branded content, news content, lifestyle content, luxury content, food content, every relatable content. So AI in our use case is also trying to do the real-time A/B test of the best headlines. Because the best headlines you have, the more page views you have, the more traffic you create, the more inventory you create, and the more revenue you generate. Okay. So even testing the headline, not the entire content, but the headlines also plays a very important role, that would this headline capture the more attention, or would this headline capture the more attention? Which will generate more clicks, which will be better engagement-wise. Okay. So that's the role of AI in Khaleej Times.
I love that. I had actually question number 3 was mostly
just
about
very quickly
AI.
before you move on.
Yeah, please go ahead.
That's a great point that he just brought up regarding optimization and what AI enables you to do. When it comes to working with walled gardens, the likes of Google, Meta, they all have their own algorithms that optimize to KPIs that they care about, that publishers care about as well. And of course, as advertisers, we hope that these KPIs are kind of mutually beneficial. But I think as agencies, one of the things that we need to focus on, or one of the things we need to be hyper-focused on, is our clients' KPIs. So what AI has enabled us to do is actually build custom algorithms that enables us to alter the algorithms within the walled gardens to actually drive value across multiple KPIs that may not be necessarily native within the platforms. So if you imagine, for example, that you're buying media across the likes of Kalish Times and God knows what, let's say Meta, TikTok, whatever. If you're a brand that's, let's say you're a CPG brand, you care about eyes on your assets and you care about attention. Today, you can't bid based on attention within these platforms. And Kalish Times might be the most attentive platform where consumers are actually spending a lot of their time.
Definitely.
With AI, what you can do is we have a tool called Simba. What you can do is you can bid based on attention, driving more budget automatically to the likes of Kalish Times,
nice.
Driving your clients.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, that's a great insight. We've been speaking a lot about AI. I do have another question on AI, but I'm going to skip it for the time being, just to give something a bit different for the audience. Here's a nice one. Here's a daring one for everyone in the industry. We've been talking about this subject for a while now. So many say legacy planning processes within agencies can hold back innovation, right? Are these processes limiting openness to newer channels like the open web? And how can agencies adapt internally to embrace more experimentation? To you.
Yeah, so this is a topic that's very dear to my heart. I lead performance, obviously, for Spark, and one of the things that I do is I lead the testing and learning framework. Now, the challenge is that every client has a different objective, right? A CPG brand's objective is going to vary very, very much so compared to a luxury brand. And we spoke earlier about some of the challenges of working with a luxury brand, for example. LVMH is one of our clients. Now, they will be extremely reluctant. In fact, we very rarely put much budget on the open web, primarily because of brand safety concerns. And then if you're a CPG brand, mostly what you care about is broad reach and be as efficient as possible. The legacy planning, the way it's done is, and I think it's going to remain the same, is we're forced to plan based on what the client's objective is. So what we do as an agency is we try to push the clients to reserve a certain portion of their budget, whether it's 20% or at least 5%, to continuously testing. So that's kind of the best way for us to drive that agenda.
Okay. You're the head of programmatic and on the publisher side. I want to hear your thought on that.
Sure. The traditional planning or the legacy planning is just to add his point also, that it's a very common thing, do not disturb what is working well. So it could be one portion is that on years of experiments, on years of planning, on years of achievement of certain results, this could be one reason you don't want to change the plan. But what as a publisher or open web can offer in terms of innovation is much great. Creating, these days it's more about not an ads specifically, but it should be more relevant, it should be more contextual relevant in a way. So from a publisher perspective, we don't just deliver your ads or create the inventories, but we create the content. We ensure it's a trusted and credible environment where it is being delivered and the attention rate is highest. We co-create the innovation of ad formats, of content, and the relevancy. Even we can create first-party audience in this nature that first we create content which is relevant to your custom audience, even if that is an experiment or innovation that you want to do. We create those audience and then we retarget them.
Okay.
So that's the level of innovation that an open web can offer in this segment.
Great. Maher, you've been on the agency side and now you're on the brand side. Been doing this for a while. Tell us more about the innovation on the open web based on your experience.
To be honest, Eli, the difference between agency and at the end of the day, all of them are working in parallel to achieve the same goal. Agency, brand, and publishers. They are all the goal is to achieve success of a marketing campaign. So for that reason, maybe they are focusing better on the upper part of the digital funnel, marketing funnel. However, we focus when their job's done. Okay. We try to optimize our data to get better conversion ratio and cost per acquisition. So the AI here play an essential role in terms of creating custom audiences and link it to our CRM.
Nice.
So definitely it's helping us while creating lookalike, creating new audiences to our CRM.
Great. So let's do a bit of audience participation. We have people definitely from the agencies. We have ad techs. We have technology. So I think everyone is here. Raise your hands, and I want to see who's in to still believing in the open web. Anybody from the platforms? No one is here. Great. Okay. There you go. I think we have a very high percentage. So this is good. This is good. Dear to my heart. So one more question, and now we're going to start with you. From a brand perspective. Do you think we have reached a saturation point on platforms? Are you seeing signs that brands like Arada are looking for incremental reach elsewhere? And what role should publishers play in delivering that extra value beyond search and social?
To be honest, reaching a saturation point, I don't see it. We're there yet, no. We should not forget that, okay, maybe they are dominating today, those big platforms, but at the end of the day, they are not everything in the market. You cannot, for example, for a match of football, or you cannot put Messi and Ronaldo and tell them to play, get everything. They need someone to assist, so that's why we need to create a cross-marketing between all channels. So, okay, but we should not forget, for example, when you advertise on those platforms, the big platform, for me as a brand, I'm a real estate brand, I'm advertising on those, let's say, Facebook or Google, whatever. I'm advertising with hundreds of other competitors. That increase my bid, that increase my cost per lead, that increase which is reflect negatively on my cost per acquisition.
Okay.
That's why we should always look outside the box and find the new players and through the open web actually.
That's great. I would like to hear your feedback, Andrew, on that.
Saturation point. I echo the same sentiment there. I don't think that we are at saturation point. Not yet, anyway. Not in this region. Depending on your goals, whether it's awareness or performance, we're just not there. I think it's incredibly important to follow the numbers. So a lot of clients are still going to be leaning more towards the Googles and the Metas simply because the performance is there. If you look at when Elon Musk bought Twitter and he was freaking out that all advertisers are leaving, I think it's because a lot of the time, I hope there's no ex people in here, but a lot of the time Twitter just wasn't performing, right? They don't have a strong lower funnel offering. We're seeing a massive rise in platforms like TikTok and Snapchat, especially in Saudi. Snap is because of their algorithm. Their performance algorithm is it's very impressive. They're delivering the numbers. TikTok has the scale. They're investing massively into lower funnel. I believe they have some announcements coming in the next couple of weeks. We just follow the number when it comes to performance, whether it's awareness and you're driving efficiency on CPMs, whether it's attention measurement and you're looking at which placements, which publishers are driving the necessary numbers. We just follow the numbers.
So thank you so much. Brand safety is important for you, right? Premium content, creating that content. We used to always say, content is king. I think it's going to remain like that. Tell us more from your own perspective as a publisher on that part of saturation.
So saturation, I will agree, with, it's not there exactly, but how does a publisher plays a role, in this, entire ecosystem or this journey is, creating the high quality value, leads or the first look, like, when you're trying to capture a campaign, you're trying to create an awareness, which is stage one, like, then consideration, and then conversion, like. So what Khalid Times or any publisher creates a value via brand safe, trust and credible environment is in form of context that it can write. It can write an article, it can create a content, which will create, like, the right users and their attention. And once you capture these users and they pass in your funnel, the rest of the exercise becomes much easier because they would consider and convert faster than any other random, like, users just reading any random article or just watching an ad for the first time and trying to see, like, the message, is it really creative enough? Should I click here or there? But when they consume the content, their attention is to gain the knowledge on that part. That's where the publisher brings a value and creates that valuable funnel of a user.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you for that. Sure. Still have one more question. I mean, it's great to see, the three of you here. You're the full ecosystem. So let's give an advice to the audience. One from a brand, two from a publisher, three from an agency. Let's give insights. Let's give a piece of advice for everybody here in the audience.
Okay, a bit of advice.
And in the context of open web, always in the
Sure.
context of performance, in the context of brand safety and discovering something new.
Yeah, I think testing and learning is the most fundamental aspect of performance marketing. When the likes of Project Agara, Taboola, releases a product like Realize, or a relatively new to region platform like, I don't know, Pinterest comes along and says, hey, we have a performance plus product, that optimizes based on purchase intent. Whatever it might be, I think it's ideal that we, as advertisers or as agencies, push our clients to test, because you never know which platform is actually going to drive the most efficiency for you, that's going to drive the best yields for you unless you test. So test and learn is critical.
Great. Test and learn. Omar.
Sure. From publisher perspective, I would say, especially from Khalid Times perspective, is that when you get two things together, which is human credible intelligence, which is our editors, like, who create the content, people consume the content, and you map it with the ad tech, with the open web, that's the best environment that a marketer can get. And the possibility becomes endless because an open web has, possibility of further innovations which walled garden may not have. So this is the best combination that can be created on a publisher environment with help of the open web being in the picture.
Great. Thank you. Maher, you're the brand. Arada is doing an amazing job.
Thank you so
much. Tell us from your own perspective, what matters to you and what matters to the audience.
As a brand and as a marketer as well, Eli, in my opinion, we should not focus on one part of the marketing funnel. Okay, clicks are good, impressions are good, leads are good also, but we should always optimize the full journey of this marketing lead or whatever. That, for example, so we should optimize the full journey of the marketing lead. This will reflect at the end of the day an increase in your revenue. It will increase better results, because if you focus only on one part of the marketing funnel, tomorrow, for example, if you don't do remarketing campaigns and if you don't do custom audiences, trust me, many unqualified leads that we got, it turned into sales after some remarketing campaigns and this stuff. So we should not give up, and we should continue remarketing. We should always follow up until the end of the funnel, until acquisition.
Thank you. So, first of all, you guys like the content? Yeah? Let's see some hands. Let's see some hands. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. I think this was amazing, very insightful. A couple of themes on what we've discussed. So performance budgets naturally gravitate towards platform because of their ease and automation. We know that. But there's a strong call to simplify and make the open web just as accessible. AI is no longer an option, right? So it's central to how agencies, publishers, and brands plan, optimize, and measure campaigns. The challenge is ensuring it is used to add value and not just complexity. And lastly, and perhaps most importantly, we're at a point where relying only on search and social is not enough. I think brand safety, innovation will come from looking beyond the platforms and embracing what the open web can offer. So us at Project Agora, we believe this shift is certain and can be avoided. And we're here to help brands, publishers, and agencies make the transition smoothly with solutions that drive really good outcomes. With that, I want to thank you once again. Thank everybody here. Thank you guys for hosting us. I think it was a great panel. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for coming. Oh, my mic is on. Wow, everyone's running out the room. Please grab your coffee and come back in because we have an amazing, amazing panel lined up. Anoop, our editor, will be moderating a panel on hybrid humanity, co-pilots, and agentic AI colleagues. And before, wow, everyone. Yeah. All right, guys, all of your task is to bring one buddy back into the room and sit down with your fresh cup of coffee. So yes, for this panel,
You just officially announced a break.
A brief on what your debate is on. So I would also like to let you know. It is the next one. The next is debate, right? You should have actually given information saying that you guys want to be for the debate as well.
no one here.
Huh?
I can't speak.
Just allow.
That's where online shopping's going. And we're giving it that extra lift. With a platform that brings everyone together. Brands, agencies, retailers and publishers united around a common goal. To put the joy back into shopping. Delighting customers and elevating the experience. With Criteo, every decision, every step taken is for the love of commerce.
So before I introduce the next panel, I just wanted to remind everybody that we do have Campaign's first ever debate, a property university style go between for and against. And I don't want to give too much away, but definitely text all your friends outside. If they're interested in witnessing that, to please come back in and take a seat. Without further ado, for the second panel of the day, please put your hands together for Mr. Ravi Rao, the managing partner at Calamity AI, Giacomo Ziani, the senior VP of corporate marketing and communications at G42, Anis Santut, the executive director of digital innovation at Dubai Holding Entertainment, and Meghna Vyas, the AVP of marketing at a leading bank in the UAE. And joining as moderator is our very own editor, Anoop Uman from Campaign Middle East.
Fine.
Thank you.
Tell them to bring their food in and come. Check. Hello, everybody. A lot of people have gone out to get their coffee and food. I wish I could go out to go get my coffee and food. For someone who's not eaten breakfast today, I think it's a good start. I've had one Red Bull and one coffee. I hope that's good enough. Can everyone at the back hear us? Awesome. Can we do a really quick mic check saying hi?
Hello. Hello, hello. Hello.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi.
Great.
Yeah.
So no mic problems in the middle. First off, let me start by saying thank you for joining us here today. It's great to have such elite, esteemed people on stage with me. But before we start, I've been asked to set the scene, so to speak, for where we're at. I can start by saying that the marketing organizational structure has changed, and it's never going back to the way it was before. And I think that's something that we all agree on. We have welcomed and we've seen the growth of a digital native generation, so to speak, a generation that was born into the internet, that had smartphones, tablets, laptops, and the likes, and they can't imagine or can't remember a time before it. Right? They use it when they are bored or sitting alone at home, whether they're on the beach, whether they're with friends, whether they're at work, whether they're shopping, whether they're interacting. Everything is with their digital gadgets. What's fascinating is to see the next generation has come up now that are not just digital native, but they are AI native. This is a generation that uses everything through AI, whether it's the selfies that they need to clean up using AI, whether it's the videos they generate for content on social media, it's using AI, whether it's to make their jobs a little easier at work, they use AI. From what I've been told, there are people in the room apparently who even use AI as therapists to talk to share their emotions with, because apparently we men aren't really good at this, right? And our wives, our friends, our sisters, and our families are now using AI just to have a chat, just to talk to. And this has become an AI native generation. If I take that a step further, we've gone beyond just digital native and AI native to having agentic AI employees within the organization. What used to be mere tools within an organization have become employees, so to speak. It started with speed, productivity, and efficiency, and now it's become almost a way for tools that are autonomously, and the key word there is autonomously, real-time optimizing campaigns, real-time reallocating budgets, real-time understanding that a campaign is not performing really well and modifying it accordingly. But we're not here to talk hypotheticals. We're here to genuinely learn based on actuals on the ground. And on that note, let me just also take my phone out, because these are conversations that I'd love to remember at a later stage, so I'm going to record from my end, because that's what journalists do, apparently. So I remember this conversation because I might not get all of them on stage again. Let me throw Ravi into the hot seat right now. Let's start with you, and I'm going to ask the very obvious question. Have we already started deploying agentic AI beyond just mere noise and conversations? And if you have started deploying agentic AI, what are the benefits that you see? What's your projection for it?
Okay, I think we live in a fascinating time. When I began as a marketing research trainee, management trainee at Unilever, we were in a department where we were using punch cards. Now we know most of them may not even know what a punch card is, but check it out. Now, the way we have moved across is very, very interesting. Take Unilever as an example, right? I will just say they have spent billions of dollars in advertising media, and what they do is they use AI and agents to look at multiple parameters across geographies to decide a top-down approach in allocation first, and then the individual countries tweak it and make it worthwhile. The second interesting example I would give is how L'Oreal, for example, has even instituted an AI ethics board that makes it so much different and difficult because while you have your own KRAs, KPIs that you're tracking across, you need to use something else. 3, why? I will talk something very simple that I work on, which is Climate. Here, we have built an agentic AI, which has got a campaign builder. So you just take the client's brief straight, put it into the box, text box, and it generates the entire campaign, including platform-wise allocation of budgets. 2, if pixels are not done, it even says, can I go ahead and start creating the pixels? Press the button, and you can be online. So everything is possible, and you can actually see the demo, which works instantaneous. So what it used to take a year and a half for a good digital expert, you get this output out in 5 minutes and under. Now, the old adage still works, Gigo. It all depends on what you key in, how you manage. That's the most important thing. So examples are all across us. We don't realize. I'll give one other example. I use Lindy.ai because I collect stamps. I'm a philatelist for the last 40 years. What happens is I collect on a topic called architecture. Now, there are so many countries, if you look at a stamp, you won't even know what country is it from. So I've created a simple agentic AI. So what it does is it looks at all my stamps, collates, gives stories in terms of agriculture, apiculture, viniculture, you name anything, it classifies. Makes my life easy, and I spend more time on Climate. That's it. Fantastic. So it is real, and it is all around us. You should see a demo one of these days.
I think we'll have to redefine what stamps mean to my Gen Z team. But we'll get to that eventually. Giacomo, would love to hear from you at G42 as well, how agentic AI is not a conversation of the future, but is in the now.
Yeah, look, it is very real. We, as G42, start deploying agents as part of our offering to clients and partners across several industries, starting from the energy sector, for example, where one of our companies, AIQ, partnered with ADNOC to offer reservoir modeling and seismic analysis, which is the first. It was a world first for the energies industry, and they achieved impressive results, like reducing essentially the time to perform such task by 85% to 90%, and you can imagine the cost. So from months to literally days. When it comes to marketing specifically, I'll have to be honest, not yet. So if I look at my team, we are a Gen AI first Marcoms team. So Gen AI becomes the first step for us across every range of activities, where it is creative, comms, events activation, as I think Andre was saying earlier. We use it to brainstorm it, right, as a team, and then to move through the entire cycles. But when it comes to agentic, I think this is something that, unlike everything else we do at G42, we want to be a little bit slow to make sure we do it right rather than we do it fast. And the reason is that agentic AI, in order to be successful, demands disruption. And it demands disruption of processes. It demands disruption of org charts, and you referred to it earlier. And it demands disruption of information flows, right? So the pyramidal org chart that we're used to doesn't work in an agentic AI world. And why? The reason is that in such structure, information typically flows top-down. Right. And as it flows top-down, obviously it gets transformed, it gets disrupted, it gets lost as well. And if you have a tool, an entity that needs to act on your behalf and make decision, you cannot afford for such tool to do it without the most up-to-date and relevant information. So what we are in the process of doing is really restructuring our team, not as a pyramid anymore, but almost as a cell, where the AI engine kind of sits at the core, and then we, humans, and our AI agent counterparts actually orbit around that nucleus. And we are both producers as well as consumers of information and data at any time, right? So we're going through the process. And again, we're not looking we're going through the journey, and we're not looking at a single process. We're actually looking at the full cycle from research to literally reporting and everything in between, with tens of agents eventually that will help us move through that journey.
I love that. I feel like a big part of this panel has been covered already: time, cost, efficiency, and the disruptive nature of it. But I also see that mature organizations don't necessarily need to run into it. Take your time, understand what you're doing, and then scale accordingly based on how it disrupts the entire organization, the entire workflow. Meghna, I'm going to bring you...
If I may, I just saw a couple of days ago, actually, there was this interesting insights from, I think it was from Gartner. They basically said by 2027, 40% of agentic AI projects will fail. And the reason being is that agents are not something you can layer on top of existing process, as you may do with automation, or you may do with Gen AI. It really warrants that rethinking of the entire processes
and that's exactly why we're here. Yeah. To understand its benefits, but how we need to rethink and structure before we dive in. I like that. I like the different perspectives coming into the conversation. Meghna, I'm going to bring you in here. AVP marketing within the banking sector that is traditionally trust-oriented, very heavily trust-oriented. It's very interesting to have you on a panel of talking about agentic AI in an industry that's generally this slow and careful, as Giacomo was mentioning. The question to you then would be, how much do we need to continue keeping humans constantly in the loop, whether it's for judgment, for governance, for emotional intelligence and such, and how much over time, even if we're taking the slow route, can we slowly start independently leaving to agentic AI to run autonomously?
It's a very good question.
First
of all, coming from banking sector, of course, all these technologies sounds amazing to us, and it's like you're talking to someone who's using a map, like a physical print out of a map to reach a destination, wherein we have GPS, and now we are like, okay, let's explore GPS, and we are navigating, and we are taking all wrong turns. So that's where we are right now, right? And so all I'll say is that we are navigating, and we are trying to arrive, but we are not arrived yet. However, we are in reality at the stage of using tools like Copilot, which is sort of just helping people, helping every individual in the bank at an individual capacity. When it comes to a campaign perspective, of course, we are using a lot more tools, a lot more ways of doing a lot of our branding work, a lot of our campaign creative work, which is driving us efficiency, cost optimization, also helping us creating personalized and hyper-personalized campaigns, for that matter of fact. But at the same point of time, we are a bank. We definitely have big data, but we are using teaspoons to dig in, because we are really restricted, right? Restricted in many ways. For example, we are data rich, but inside poor. Like, we cannot make use, like, whereas you can tell me that Anup is in a disastrous mood and he needs therapy, so let's sell him therapy for matter of fact, but I am restricted, I can't, because I'm not allowed to know that what is your mood like. So, there are certain barriers that we have. However, and again, I'm spitting it all out in a very generic sense, not in a very detailed format. But that's where we are at right now. And yes, there is a lot that can be, left to the tools. For example, in the place of integrating this with our CRMs, coming up with good data and rich data sets, that's something that we can leave. However, and it can prompt us as to what he is trying to say. He's trying to say, okay, fine, Anup, here, this is this amazing thing for you, but then is this amazing or not? Do I want to sell my car to you? That certain level of moderation is required. Like, I need to, a human intervention is required to understand whether, because also understand, we are a bank, right? Even a lot of, in reality, I might be ready to go with my campaign today, but I might have a regulatory concern like dropped in at 12 midnight and I have to stop. You know what I mean? So the real situations, I can't just depend solely. But yes, I see it going somewhere around, at least like somewhere around 30 to 40%.
I love the openness and transparency on this panel. I wish we had many more panels like this across that very openly say, okay, if I'm reading between the lines, it's trust, it's transparency, it's regulatory concerns, it's compliance, but it's also about control. And I want to bring that conversation back to control, saying, are we hesitating on agentic AI, not simply in order, like Giacomo said, to get it right, but is it a control issue? Is that a reason to hold on to certain level of human governance and structure, or is it letting go? Giacomo, Ravi, bring you back into this conversation.
Well, yeah, look, it's the first time we have created a tool that eventually has the ability to understand context, take decisions, act, adapt on our behalf. So obviously, as I said earlier, we need to make sure that whatever these actions this tool may take kind of happen within the boundaries of values, of visions, of ethics of the organization. But if I can go back to your question, your previous question was, where do we keep the humans, right, in the loop? There's a fun story from earlier this year when I was at the World Economic Forum in Davos, right? And if you've been there, you'll know there's this main road. It's called the Promenade that gets taken over by corporations who basically dress it up with their brands and taglines and so on. And over the past 2-3 years, it has all become about tech. You just have, it looks like a GITEX or a CES, basically. And what was funny to see in January was that everyone, like 80% of these companies had these very big, bold taglines about agentic AI. And what I noticed, and I started to take pictures, was that they all read the same. It was like they had been written by the same person. So clearly, they had delegated.
It's the same at Cannes Lion. Walk along the Crozet and you see all of the same.
They had all delegated their copywriting to AI. So back to your point, where do we keep human? I think brand identity. It's fundamental, right? Brand identity, brand voice, brand ethos. That's something that's for us to define and then to preserve, because AI will tend to, yes, it makes it faster, it makes it easier, but it will dilute it, and it will make it completely homogeneous. And then vision setting, goal settings, again, all needs to stay, I think, within our control. We talked about governance and ethics. Obviously, we want to make sure that boundaries where these agents operate are clearly defined, and then the information that we feed into them are not sensitive for the business or are not sensitive for the culture, for example, in which we operate, right? And then I guess, yeah, I think these are kind of the areas where we want to maintain.
I have 3 points on this, right? Probably I differ slightly from some of the comments you made. And the reason is very simple. If I look at Accenture, they operate across multiple sectors around the world. They have 14 agentic AIs, and you should see the most underlying theme in everything that they do is productivity. Automatically, you get better things. Well, in the process, you end up losing few talents because it's worthwhile, or you ensure that the talent gets upskilled, therefore, they add more value to the business. Now, the important element is you used a word control, right? Anything you do is not a free-for-all. You have an autopilot in a plane, doesn't mean I put it on, have my drink, and fly the plane. People have done it recently, and which is what has caused crashes. But I'm saying you always have a guardrail to protect, and you work within the boundaries. Any job that has got massive repetitive nature, for example, in media, when we do programmatic buys to everything else, right? There is huge amount of repetitive ones across platforms trying to see how best I can either get a better price or I'm able to do a good targeting and maximize reach that I want to do it. Or a combination of both is when optimization becomes more critical. The more you put the right guardrails in play, then it works within the realm and agents really work wonderfully well. So the angle at which I will talk about control is to say, please have your guardrails, which is why L'Oreal, which I mentioned example before, they have an AI ethics board, which involves within organization outside experts to ensure, because what is beauty from one culture, one country to another varies. And they don't want to create something that can flare up somewhere else, which will cause an entire global appeal. So they have done it beautifully. So my reading on agentic AIs is very simple. Start small, start simple, even do, let's take HR and you've got leave and payroll system. If you can use agentic AI in there, even in a bank, it does not violate anything because the data set is within your bank and it's not a third-party customers that you're talking with. But I guess it's all the inertia to say, do I want to change? When I started off my career, there were no computers. Until Mac 2 SE was given to us, and we all had to remove the shoes, socks to get into an air-conditioned room. I don't know why, and now I find it amusing, but that's how we did. So I think it's a matter of start. For everyone here, I would say, I'm not recommending this app, but there are 100 others, please try. Go to lindy.ai. Just create your own agents and see what it does. You will be amazed, and at least for the first month, it's free. And later, you got to pay $40, you can cut off and start another email. But try it, because I would say the moment you try it, you know, damn, why didn't I think of it, and why can't I do it?
Absolutely.
That's the way I would put it.
I love the conversation because it echoes a lot of conversations we've had within the industry. There are, like you said, there is a cultural aspect to it. There is an educational aspect to it. Anis and I were talking earlier today about there are so many challenges currently within the industry we need to fix, as we go forward. I mean, ethics issues, guardrails like you mentioned. Anis, I'll bring you back into that conversation because I think this is a perfect segue into what we were talking about earlier as well, is yes, we're in different levels of maturity. And we've seen this across brands, even when copilots came out, when generative AI came out. There are always going to be people who hesitate and say, let somebody else make the mistake first. There are always going to be the other end of the people saying, let's fail fast. Let's test, experience, build our own figurative systems, and iterate accordingly, right? The question to you, Anis, is, we're now looking, and I mean, we're already there. We're looking at a digital native, AI native, Meghna mentioned, co-pilot and agentic AI within the same workforce. What challenges do we need to fix first? And then how do we reshape our org structure to ensure that we have the right skills, that we have the right roles and the right workflows that can build around these capacities?
Yeah. Look, there is as you said, there is a large spectrum in the agency and the client side world. And I would say there is a recent study by Google that says that less than 1 in 5 marketeers are in the advanced or are leaders in AI. They're still experimenting. We heard a lot around education, around the fact that you need to upskill. But the main question that you ask every day is when these work activities, especially in our knowledge-based industry, where you see that now currently AI is automating 80% of that. Your job is obsolete, Ravi. I'm sorry.
I agree, which is why I joined Climate.
So I think
automated.
I know. I think it's about really. If you look at we are in two worlds. There are two worlds. On the agency side, there's the fear of missing out, which is I know they're experimenting a lot in LLMs. LLMs are going to continue to mature and utilize these tools to help in the efficiency and the scale of creative assets and optimizing the media and the campaign. When it comes to the client side, there is that we spoke about it. There's the fear of messing up, the FOMO, which is a lot of sentiment around risk, around we're at Dubai Holding, we're very risk averse, and we are EU compliant, GDPR compliant, so we have to follow the EU AI Act, and I know that in UAE there are the AI principles around ethics and governance, but EU is really taking it seriously, especially if you are an organization that is distributing and deploying AI systems, and agentic AI of course is going to be disrupted. So I would go back to the agency side and say that AI is going to make hours become minutes. They're going to become obsolete. So agencies are selling time and material. They're still in that model. Which I feel it's time to shift to a talent and a model. Which is all about how do we create these hybrid talents and use the models to, of course, attention and creating this upper funnel emotional resonance is still needed right now. But I think it's all about, of course, the efficiency and the automation of the autonomous routine tasks that agencies take. Of course, once they have the data foundation, of course, they can automate a lot of the things. But the main question is, work activities are either becoming augmented or autonomous. Where is that going to be? I think it's a big question. And for augmenting your tasks, we're going to see roles like the narrative designer, where the designer will use these tools, like Andre was saying, to really come up with new solutions, but he will or she will have to choreograph and narrate and have that nuances and the cultural understanding to really build that story and creative. And when it comes to the organization, I think we're starting to deploy Agentforce, which is our Salesforce foundation to understand the 360 degree of the customer. Agentforce helps you in the customer experience side, which is all about automating customer service agents. It's all about automating the lead prospecting and the lead nurturing. Marketing is still at a crossroads here, but I think it's about understanding how marketeers needs to start to becoming orchestrators, distributors of AI. Knowing how to prompt is not just about sending instructions and writing, something. Now you don't do code, right? So you need to understand how to split agents into different task forces and subtasks, and send instructions, understanding if-else statements. So you need to have that programming language in your marketing world to really start to understand how to deploy these agentic AIs.
Clearly, we all need to upskill. And Meghna, I'll bring you in and come back to Giacomo as well. The same question. I like the way Anis has phrased it, right? In terms of, we're either going to augment or we're going to go autonomous. How do we build that within the org chart?
That's, again, you're asking me something really futuristic where we are not even there yet. But of course, a lot of the work that, from a marketing perspective and from a client side perspective, I see a lot of work that we deploy to the agency world right now is getting more and more reduced for us in-house. Right. So that's the transformation that we see in our structure.
You're already augmenting to a certain extent with co-pilots, and you're seeing that skill shift, you're seeing the workflow shift happening.
Yes,
Are we still sticking to the same formats and workflows and structures and roles, or have we started to pivot already, seeing that change?
We are pivoting more towards the tech roles, as Anis mentioned, that the language, the programming, the knowledge part of how you adopt and how you supervise and start using. So the AI knowledge is now becoming more and more something that we are trying to seek, and we are all trying to upskill within the department as well. And within the roles, the new roles that are opening up is more towards a very hybrid sort of a role wherein you require certain expertise and knowledge to be able to use these tools. At the same point of time, have your marketer's hat on and be that creative person as well. So it's more, though we are pivoting towards that, but we are not seeing a significant, I would say, like in the next, we have just completely evolved in the next 6 months or so, and we are still at a very infant stage, and we are sort of discovering these things.
I like the different levels we're all at, but all equally eager. Giacomo.
Yeah, just wanted to add another perspective. So, the fabric of the organizations or teams, let's say, is changing, is becoming hybrid, humans plus AI. But beyond kind of the individual skills that we need all to develop, like Anis mentioned, prompt engineering and others, I think what we are observing, at least as a large organizations, is that marketing is starting to pull expertise from other functions. So there's this kind of cross-functional convergence where
silos are finally
IT skills, compliance skills and governance, data scientists, creative technologists, because we need them closer to what we do, and we cannot afford waiting for an email going out to the IT department and them to answer after 3 days and that process to happen, right? So that's this morphing as well of skills that are needed within the team.
I would add something else to this, right? Your point on, and Anis, your points were very good. I would say explainability is something that is very critical when you are utilizing agents. What is explainability? Let's say I'm doing an optimization. It throws any number. It's like Douglas Adams' book, and answer is 42. Why 42? You will take another 6 generations to figure out what happened.
That's what inspired our name. G42 comes from that.
Correct. Yeah. So the thinking there is very simple. When I talk explainability, you need to look at the output and say, was there anything that I can explain why this was done this way, or could I have done differently? Is there a gap somewhere? Then you need to look at self-bias, because all agentic, it all depends on, until you learn over a period of time, there is always a bias. You need to steer course of the bias, which means you need a human intervention to look at it to say, did the job that my agent do, is it right, or should I simply press the button and go home? No. So I guess there is always a bit of caution along with the adventure that you're doing in autonomous stuff. My reading is, again, when you say augmented versus autonomous, I would say start autonomous in a small scale. You will get augmented results and leading to amplifying in the marketing zone itself. Banking sector, you talked, Meghna. If I look at the Publicis group that is working on it, I'm sure they're doing a lot of hard hitting that needs to go into your marketing, which you don't see. Because as a bank, you are foreboding yourself to say, I cannot do this, but they help you to make it that much more easier. So in a way, whether we like it or not, agentic remains. And I'm happy because when I see 300 creatives from a single photograph, if you are able to create videos, then the question that comes around in Climate is to say, but the soul of the creative, the soul of what I want to talk as a brand, the brand voice to everything else, is it within the parameters, is something that I need to check and the marketing head needs to check.
And building on that, Ravi, I also want to ask you, I mean, we've got this massive conversation going on around ROI, What's the what's the takeaway? How is it going to affect our bottom lines? How is it going to change things? And ultimately, that's the conversation that marketers are having on the Exco. You're still constantly proving the need for everything, right? Are we going to change or have, now that you're deploying it, have success metrics around how we're operating, the KPIs for agentic AI as employees, KPIs for AI native, or for co-pilots, or for people who are augmenting their skills? Have success metrics already changed or can change within that org structure accordingly?
I'll give only one example, those who understand programmatic and digital advertising, right? There is something called MFA, made for advertising sites that only suck in money and it's ghost, nothing else, right? It's a money being consumed in a black hole. One of the things that the agentic helps us is to scrolling through all the publishers that we have got and through SSPs, it just eliminates anything that you have seen what has happened as a MFA with the rules put in, it eliminates and you are bringing it to zero. To me, that alone saves at least 14 to 13% of your budgets, ad dollars. And that runs in millions, if not billions.
Great example.
That's it.
No, I would say outcome-based, shifting to outcome-based scenarios is always the ultimate. We're not there yet with the agentic AI economy or ecosystem. I mean, you saw that Google now is in Q4, they're going to move into AI mode, right? So how are you going to shift all your intent-based search and SERP organic SEO to ask the agency, what is happening and how you guys can react? The react and the reflection pattern of how agents are thinking needs to happen with the humans. We need to also react and reflect and reason. And act, quickly on what's happening. On the other side, I think upskilling is going to be a major, key. Understanding the bias and setting those guardrails, because these are currently agentic AIs are sitting within platforms with the Salesforce, IBM, Amazon. These guys allow you to deploy agents. But I think the challenge is the exchange, the interoperability between different agents to work harmoniously within different systems.
Break the silos as well. Okay, let's wrap up really quickly. I want people to take actual actionable takeaways. We've already established that there are people across the room, across different maturity levels. So really quick, one line from each of us, if you want to jump in. For those starting off their journey within agentic AI, or people are experimenting with it. Anis, Giacomo, Ravi, I know Meghna, you've not really tried it, so we'll go with them. What's your key message to them saying, watch out or try this?
I think you inspired me with your speech in the morning.
Thank you.
You said, less laziness and mediocrity. Absolutely. And more.
We are sitting in a bubble that's waiting to burst anyway.
Thinking more and trying to be open to experimentation and going with the flow, because we're all at the same pace.
As I said earlier, I think disrupt and redesign first. Don't just look for marginal optimization, and be responsible as you do that.
Ravi?
I have only the human touch. That's very, very critical and vital for anyone who is dabbling with agentic, right? Imagine as a co-pilot, I get a ream of financial, legal, all documents come into me, and because it has come from a proper source, I don't even read sometimes and I simply sign. I think that's the danger zone. And I would say the same thing with agentics. Whatever output that you are able to get, please look at it once with your own filter and you got to tweak it. There is no simple answer other than if somebody says, what's the answer to square root 2? You can say 1.414, but what is the next decimal? You have to think through. And that's all I would say. Little bit of caution, little bit of definite human intervention is a must.
Thank you. That was a fantastic panel. I think we could have talked for a half an hour more, but I've got Nadeem and everybody else cutting me off. So thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Please, a round of applause to them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Check. Okay, we're down to the very final bit of this event. We're doing something a little different this time. We're hosting Campaign's very first debate. We're going to have it not like a panel, but like a proper university-style debate. I'm not going to give too much away, but all I can say is you've got client side and agency side battling it out on a topic that they actually differ on. Without any further ado, I'm handing over to Chantel, our Master of Ceremonies, and the moderator for the final campaign debate. Yes, I'm supposed to introduce the speakers as well. Well, let's do that. On team 4, am I introducing the topic as well? Okay. We have a campaign debate. There's going to be a team 4, and there's going to be a team against. On team 4, we've got Rory McEntee, Chief Marketing Officer at Gymnation. We've got Dr. Huda Dao, Managing Director at Analect. And challenging them on team against, we have Pasant Al-Ghanem, Marketing Director at Kraft Heinz. And of course, none other than Mazen Nahavi, founder and CEO of Karma and Socialize. What are they debating? They're debating whether creativity has lost its showmanship due to its focus on data. Team 4 believes that creativity has lost its focus due to its focus on data. Team against believes that creativity has not lost its focus due to its focus on data. Fire away.
Testing, testing. Yeah.
Hello? Can everyone hear us? Are you good?
Hi.
There's a bit of feedback.
Yeah.
So hello everyone. It is my absolute honor to welcome you all to the first ever campaign debate. We have 4 speakers, 2 teams, and 1 topic. Has creativity lost some of its showmanship due to its focus on data? So here's how the debate's going to flow. We've got our 2 teams, Team 4 and Team Against. Each team will have a chance to make an opening statement. This will be followed by a rebuttal from their opponent, and then we're going to tie it all together with closing statements from each side. So without further ado, who's going to take it up from Team 4?
I'll kick off. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, from my point of view, the great campaigns weren't tested into existence, they were dreamed into existence. And creativity used to be bold, it used to take risks, it was about creating showmanship, it was about creating spectacles that were unforgettable. But I think in this data-driven world, we're losing that. I think what's happening is we're losing that kind of magic that makes creativity and advertising great. The reason I got into marketing. Before data-driven marketing, campaigns were built out of instinct and vision. You look back at the old adverts from Apple's Super Bowl in the 80s or Coca-Cola's Hilltop advert, I want to buy the world of Coke. They were driven by this kind of unique insight and this desire to kind of bring people together. They weren't born from spreadsheets. They weren't born from kind of over-analysis on data. And they weren't optimized, they were inspired. And I think that's what we're losing now in this data-driven world. If you look at today, we've become so formulaic. You look at YouTube adverts, that their thumbnails are all the same to drive clickbait. You look at brands recycling trending audios on TikTok and Instagram where everything is looking the same. Even Netflix, who are the masters of data with segmentation, all their trailers follow this particular pattern because that's what the data tells them to do. And I believe AI then has intensified this. What we're seeing is we're pulling public data to drive copy, creative, strategy, and campaigns, and we're following this formulaic approach, which is making everything feel the same. And I think what you're seeing, let's not forget about that unmistakable magic we had from campaigns past, the Guinness Surfers advert that's so famous, Dove's Real Beauty campaign in the noughties, or even Nike's Just Do It slogan. I don't believe that these campaigns would become the campaigns that they have become if they lived in this data-driven world. So I ask us, do we want campaigns that inspire, surprise, and delight us, or do we want these lookalike campaigns that continue to follow the same pattern?
Thank you, Rory. So creativity isn't as inspired anymore. Mazen, on Team Against, what's your take?
Rory, my Irish brother in arms, you're wrong.
I'm told that a lot.
Not because you're Irish, I love that. Two big areas of disagreement. One, you're inferring, and I submit to the audience, that inspiration is on the decline. That's false. We went from one Coca-Cola being inspiring to 8 billion Coca-Colas being inspiring. The 8 billion are we. But instead of having it on 3 American TV stations, the BBC and the New York Times, we now do it in our own small way. Each one of us is a Coca-Cola. Each one of us is an inspiration. And I can't tell you how much inspiration I get every single day. Maybe not from myself, but from everyone around me. Second, we're inferring that inspiration is on the decline. I've proved that wrong. But we're making the argument that data is leading to a decline or a dilution in inspiration. That's also wrong. There's an old Arabic saying which says, never let the facts get in the way of the truth. Think about that for a minute. You'd think they have to be the same thing, right? But they're not. And here's the big secret. And we will probably win this debate right now, turn off the AC and have donuts in like 30 seconds. The facts, the data, they don't give a shit. They are what they are. What we do with them is what defines our creativity and inspiration. But they are neutral in nature. They cannot move you forward, and they cannot move you backward. They are what they are. You use them well, you'll get a good outcome. You use them badly, you'll get a bad outcome.
Thank you, Mazen. So, Huda, what do you think?
Yeah, I love what Mazen said, and definitely there are, common grounds. Let's take a step back on focus on data. And you're right. I mean, in the past few years, we democratized the access to data, but also the access to agentic, AI, the agents that give us access to very advanced modeling, very advanced insights, with a split of a second, right? And it's become accessible to everyone. Everyone in marketing, everyone in any industry, which is great. However, there are pitfalls, right? The over-focus of data, the over-focus on insights that come from data, we always need to take a step back and have this kind of critical thinking and discerning minds of where is this data coming from? How am I going to use it? You mentioned something important, is that it's not the output, it's not the data, it's how we use it, right? And this is where we need to raise awareness on really how to best use data and when not to use data, right? We're talking about creativity. If we're talking about automation, decision-making, understanding performance, using performance to improve, how we do things, right? Whether it's in marketing or any activity in any industry. Yes, you're right. Data can help a lot, can support a lot. But when we talk about creativity, this is where beauty comes from being unique. Beauty comes from, yes, understanding the lay of the land, understanding what's performing, what's not, but taking a step back and really challenging yourself. Because data gets you in your comfort zone. Data is used to validate, to confirm, to make sure like the hypothesis you have is, true or wrong, it drives you towards the right direction. Gives you that kind of understanding of where you should go. However, in creativity, and this is what we were saying, is the beauty is when you're unique, when you challenge the norms, when you challenge the lay of the land. And this is where you create your uniqueness, your identity, your intellectual property.
Thank you, Huda. All right, Passant, what's your take?
So I love your take on this, Huda, but I still beg to differ. It's not like data walk into the room and turn off the light on creativity. It's the opposite. It turned on a spotlight on really what matters. It got us closer to the culture. It got us closer to what moves people. It's storytelling. It inspires the right insight to resonate with consumers. It's not about the overflow of data that causes that sameness. I'm sorry. If your creativity breaks under the weight of data, it wasn't creative at all. So really, I would encourage you to step back and see, because insight is an insight. Insight can bring any idea, but it's how you push it further to make it unique. So it's how do you use the data is what makes the difference. With the dashboards are not the villains. It's what you bring out of it. The problem happens is when we use these dashboards as a safety blanket and stay within our comfort zone in order to stay with what worked before. And the riskiest thing in a world where things are moving at the speed of a swipe is to actually play it safe. Yeah. You have to take the risk, and data really enlightens you to take that risk and to have the gut to make things differently.
All right, thank you, Passant. All right, team 4, you've stated your case. Now, how would you like to wrap it up and leave it all on the stage?
Well, I just want to come back on that one, because I agree the word villain you mentioned, and look, I agree. I don't think data is the villain necessarily, and I do agree with the point that it's how you use data. But I think that the challenge is we need to look at ourselves as marketeers. We've become lazy. I think a lot of marketers have become lazy, and they over-rely on data. They're validating themselves through spreadsheets and dashboards as opposed to storytelling. So, my kind of view on this one is they've got to work hand in hand, I agree, but you need creativity to be in the driving seat, and data is riding shotgun, essentially. So it's there to support, but it shouldn't be leading, in my opinion. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I just want to share some background. I've worked 20 years in tech, pure data modeling. PhD in information theory from 20 years ago. And really, it's all my background is creating data models. I joined the media industry for 5 years now. And this is where I really, based on our experience, I really understood how uniqueness and creating your identity is about taking a step back from data. My team and I feel we're the most creative when, yes, we have the insight in the back of our mind. We know that, we know the direction, but we're most creative and strategic when we have a blank state of mind. Like I know, and studies have shown that meditation or exercising is when you're in a state of flow of something and not troubled by nodes and dashboards and data. This is where you're truly creative and you can truly excel and inspire others. You bring out the best in you. You have a clear mind to really defy and challenge yourself to come up with innovative ideas. So yes, data is important. We're not saying no. We're saying is how you use data and how you really challenge yourself to break free from data. Use it as a flag, as a direction. But when you want to be creative, when you want to innovate, come up with new ideas, just have a blank state of mind and really challenge yourself.
Thank you, Huda. And Team Against, your final thoughts?
Well, I think an important word came up here a minute ago. Laziness. So now we've all agreed It's how you use the data. Data is not inherently bad or good. The question is, why are marketeers or marketing communications professionals, because marketing is different from marketing communications, why do we find laziness? Well, we know why people get lazy. It's easy. If you're in PR and you can say, my AVE for one article on the front page of the National is worth $300 million. Or if you're in social and you say, I've generated 48 quadrillion impressions, potential impressions, engagement metrics. These are lazy metrics. These are lazy vanity data points. Because it's hard to be able to combine your media coverage with public opinion data, asking people, what do you think? Where did you see my campaign? Did you act upon it? It's hard to do that. And with AI, it's getting even harder to do that. So, like with everything in life, the winners are going to be the ones who aren't lazy, but the ones who try.
Thank you. And with that, we wrap on our first ever campaign debate. We leave it up to you, the audience, to decide who you think won that round. And thank you so much for spending your morning with us here today.
Hold on. We need a vote. Who won?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, wow, okay. All right, show of hands. Do you guys now think that creativity has lost its showmanship? Let's see what the room thinks.
No. Who won the debate?
What do we get if we win?
So do you guys choose team 4? Yes or no? Show of hands. All right, and team against? Looks pretty even to me.
50-50. Call it a draw.
All right, thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.